All right, let's get right into it. We're going to tackle a pretty tough question today, one that might make you a little uncomfortable. What is your wealth? All your money and investments. What is it really worth if the systems we all rely on just vanished? So, just picture this for a second. You wake up tomorrow and something feels off. The world has changed overnight. And the very first thing you notice, the banks are all closed. Just shut. Okay, so you think, no problem, I'll just hit an ATM. But it's no good. Every single one is empty. And that banking app on your phone, the one you use every day, it's totally useless. Your digital money, your entire life savings, it's just frozen. So this brings us to a really fundamental question, right? If it all just disappeared, the apps, the networks, all of it, would you still be financially okay? I mean, really okay. Okay, so here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll look at why our normal way of thinking about money just doesn't work in a crisis. Then, we're going to break down the 5 assets that actually matter when things go sideways. After that, we'll explore this huge difference between a growth mindset and a resilience mindset. And finally, we'll get into how you can build what's known as anti-fragile wealth. We're all taught this simple recipe for building wealth, right? Go to school, get a good job, save your money, invest it. But here's the thing. That entire playbook, it's built for a world that's stable and predictable. So what happens when it's not? Because a real crisis doesn't care about those rules. All of a sudden, that high-paying job, that amazing stock portfolio, their value gets put to the ultimate test. A crisis has a way of showing you what your money is actually worth. And believe me, the answer can be pretty shocking. So if all our normal assets are that fragile, then what's left? What actually survives? Well, let's dive in and break down the 5 assets that really hold their value when everything else is falling apart. Okay, so the first one might sound kinda old school, but it's cash. Just plain old cash. Think about it. In the first few days or weeks of a crisis, when all the digital payment systems are down, cash is king. It's not about long-term value here. It's about pure simplicity and being able to act right now. The person holding the cash is the person who can still get things done. But as a crisis drags on, people's trust in paper money starts to crumble. And that's when you see people flocking to hard assets. We're talking about things like gold, silver, stuff you can hold in your hand. And why is that? It's because their value isn't tied to what some government or bank says it is. It's a type of wealth that just is. It doesn't need anyone's permission to be valuable. And I love this analogy here. Think about cash as being like a block of ice. It's super useful right now, it's solid. But under the heat of inflation, it just melts away. Gold, though, gold is more like water. It adapts, it moves, and it's still there long after the ice is gone. It holds its value. Now, this third asset is where our normal logic gets turned completely upside down. In our everyday lives, it's simple. Money buys food. But in a real crisis, food is money. And the same goes for clean water, or fuel, or basic medicine. These fundamental survival resources, they become the most valuable currency there is. All right, asset number 4 is all about a major shift in thinking, from what you own to what you can do. As the quote says, real wealth isn't what we own, it's what we can do. And that's so true, isn't it? Everything you own can be lost, stolen, or destroyed. But your skills, the ability to fix an engine or grow your own food or even provide first aid, no one can ever take that away from you. And the last one, number 5, it's people. It's so funny, our whole society pushes us to be independent, to stand on our own 2 feet. But in a real crisis, it's interdependence that actually keeps you alive. Your family, your close friends, your neighbors, that community is your single greatest safety net. Let's be real, nobody gets through a major crisis all by themselves. So when you look at that list, cash, hard assets, resources, skills, and people, it doesn't exactly look like a typical Wall Street investment portfolio, does it? And that's because it's not supposed to. It serves a totally different purpose, and understanding that requires a pretty fundamental shift in how we think about wealth. Almost all the financial advice you'll ever get is focused on one thing: growth. The central question is always, how can I make more money? But a crisis forces you to ask a totally different and frankly more important question. How do I make sure I don't lose everything? That right there, that's the core of a resilient mindset. So you might be wondering, well, why doesn't everyone think this way? And the answer is a really powerful psychological trap called normalcy bias. It's this deep-seated belief that tomorrow is just going to be a repeat of today. And because of that bias, we spend all our time and energy optimizing for growth, and we completely forget to build the foundation for our own survival. Now look, the point of all this isn't to make you panic, not at all. It's about encouraging you to build a more balanced foundation. So let's get practical and talk about a framework for building what we can call anti-fragile wealth. And what does that even mean, anti-fragile? Well, being financially anti-fragile means you've built a personal system that doesn't just survive shocks, but can actually handle them. It's not just about getting through a crisis. It's about having a foundation that's so solid that you can come out the other side without completely collapsing. And here's a really simple 4-layer model for how to think about it. The first layer, the base, is all about immediate survival. That's your cash, your water, your food. The second layer is stability. These are the tangible assets that keep you grounded when the paper-based system fails. Layer 3 is independence. Those are your skills, the things that make you useful no matter what. And the top layer, holding it all together, is resilience. That's your network, your people. So I want to leave you with one final thought, one last question to really think about. Be honest with yourself for a second. If everything you rely on every single day, the financial system, the internet, the social structures, if it all just disappeared tomorrow, what would you have left that still actually works? Because whatever the answer to that question is, that is your real wealth.